YouTube. Thanks for coming back to my channel. Matt here again. And I've got a very basic video today, and I hope it helps just one person out there. If it does, then it's done its job. This is mainly to help somebody out that knows very little or nothing about cars, but it could save your car. If you just look this stuff over before you get in your car, you're going to have a lot less problems, maybe not have any problems. Just generally speaking, no matter what car you have, there's just a few things you could check real quick just to keep your car from letting you down for a dumb reason. First things first, your oil level. Maybe you got your oil fill. Now it could be different places. It could be in front of the engine. A lot of them on newer vehicles are on top of the engine. This is just a cap on screws. You add oil there. Always look for a yellow handled stick. Give me a thin stick, and they different shapes and sizes, and look to see where the oil's at on it, and they'll be marked full and add, or maybe with just a letter F and A. Several marks, because the top mark is always going to be your full. You can see that F is going to be your full mark right there. As long as you are within these hash marks, don't put anything in it. If your oil level is between here and here, which this is the add or low mark, it has an L for low. If it's between those two marks, don't add anything. If you are at or below this L mark, you are a quart low on oil. You need to add a quart of oil, or have somebody you trust add a quart of oil. You get much lower than that, it starts being hard on the engine, not enough oil in it to get to the top of the motor and lubricate right. You know, lubricate your valves and all your top of your engine. So you want to keep it at least at the low mark or above it. You want to be within those hash marks. Antifreeze. Newer vehicles, almost all newer vehicles have a bottle or reservoir. If you look, right there's the full mark. Mine's right about here. Right there's the full mark. Now, generally speaking, if you have antifreeze in this bottle, you're good to go. Should be somewhere between the low and the full mark. However, if you have a radiator cap, it will look like this. It's always a good idea, when an engine's cold, never do this hot. Always do a cold engine to pop that off. And to remove a radiator cap, you always push down. You just turn it. You always have to push down and turn left, and off it comes. But our antifreeze is right there. Turn it until it stops. Should just stop. You can't turn it anymore. On vehicles with a radiator cap, it's always good to every once in a while pop the radiator cap off on a cold engine, like before you've run it for the day. Check to make sure it's right there at the top. Now, some of them don't give you a choice. You only have the bottle, and you go by that bottle. You should be within the low and the full mark. Now, the next thing we need to check is our brake fluid. The brake fluid is going to have a mark up here at the top, full, and you want to be right up there. And when you start getting down, that's a good indication that you've got worn brake pads or brake shoes. If it starts going down, you've either got a leak, or your brake pads and brake shoes are starting to wear out and your brakes are working harder. The pistons are coming out farther in your calipers, so you want to keep that up. Have your brakes checked if it's going low. You always go to somebody that you trust, and they can check this out for you. Another thing gets overlooked a lot of times is batteries. Look at your terminals. See, these terminals they look a little bit wet. I sprayed protectant on them, and I've cleaned them off with a wire brush. If you ever start to see green around your battery terminals, you want to get somebody to clean that off for you. Take the battery cables off, clean them up, and reinstall them. But get somebody that you trust to do it, because on newer vehicles you might have to attach a battery saver to it so you don't lose any settings on your engine or your electronics of the car. It can really mess them up if you just disconnect the battery. So make sure you go to somebody that you trust to do that if you have to take the terminals off. But look for green. It's like a turquoise green color around your terminals. You don't want that. That's bad. The last thing here, and I think is most important, if you have a dipstick for your transmission fluid, it's going to be usually a red colored dipstick. Check that every once in a while. Once a month. Once every couple months. The thing with a transmission is you want to do it hot. So if you're not comfortable with touching things around here when it's hot and running, you got to check the transmission at an idle while it's hot. And it checks the same as the engine. Only you do the engine when it's cold and the transmission when it's hot and running. So if you're comfortable with that, leave the car idle in park or neutral and pull your dipstick out when the car's already hot and warm, and check it the same as you would the engine. A lot of your newer ones don't have transmission dipsticks, so you have to take it somewhere. They drain it out, they measure it, or they suck it out and measure it, and they put it back in. On those, unless you have a leak, go by your owner's manual, and that'll tell you how long you can go, what mileage you should be checking that at. And then just find yourself a reputable mechanic or a family member that has the ability to do this, and get it done. Just get it checked. And that's the only way to check it. Just save your car, keep you on the road, keep you out of the garage as much as possible. So that's pretty much it. I hope this kind of helps somebody. This is the basics of what will keep you out of the garage and keep you on the road. So thanks everybody for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks.